I guess normally we would take this opportunity to introduce the show and the person. I'm hoping that most people watching this will actually know not the show, which also has a working title. Honestly, maybe the show should be working title.
This is a mess.
Ollie Hughes, father of the year, boss of the month, CEO at Count. Ollie, how are you?
Despite all your ridiculous flattery, I'm fine, thank you.
I feel like our subject today is something that you and your children maybe bond over. The Great British Bake Off, or as it is known in America, the Great British Baking Show, for reasons that I can't understand.
And I'm proud to be an American.
I don't know why.
You're certainly playing my hidden passion of mine, having seen almost every season, and I cannot stop myself. Like every year, I'm like, I'm not going to watch it this time, and I do. I bake twice a year for each of my son's birthdays.
And what do you
So
make
I
them?
just literally, funny enough, literally this week, I baked a pizza cake. So
Wow.
cake, which then looked like a pizza.
I guess the answer to this next question is pretty clear. Do you think that going on the show you could have some success?
Definitely not, because I have a full-time job.
So your job influences your ability to have success on the show, does it?
I have a strong hypothesis that if you are retired or a student, that helps you a lot.
Your crude hypothesis is very close to mine. And is actually the perfect segue. I do have a data set. I have a data set with every contestant. I have some demographic information about them, including their occupation, as you mentioned, and then some success metrics. Do they win the technical? Do they win the Star Baker? Are they a finalist, either runner-up or winner? Knowing that this data set exists and that we're about to look at it, what is your very first thought? What comes to mind?
I think there's also a weird thing about STEM people who do like science or are in like engineering, like the precision piece of this makes a difference. So I think there's something about that. Like I remember Raoul, if you're a Bake Off fan, Raoul was insane.
I can literally cut up a butter like that. I love it. The way it just goes down your throat. It's amazing.
He was like, I can't remember what he did. He worked in a chemistry lab or worked in a university, and he was crazy good. Like I think he was one of the best bakers ever. And he had only started baking a few months ago, and he's basically just doing chemistry experiments in a kitchen. If you've got a bit of cultural heritage, like your family's from a different country than the UK, and you actually can pull on experience or find recipes from other parts of the world, like just a bit of extra, spice, literal, to put in your cake, that might help.
I guess I did write the word success metrics, but I don't think it's a coincidence that you and I maybe look at the Great British Bake Off through the lens of like business terms.
Is this you're making an excuse for why you looked at Great British Bake Off data and trying to bring it back to B2B?
I'm trying to justify my salary, correct. So thinking about all these contestants in the tent, they're all vying to win that strange glass cake platter. There are some parallels, right? Like winning Star Baker in a data set could be seen as just like another success metric, like a closed deal. Contestant demographic relationship to success, right? Where people live, what they do, exactly what you were talking about is very similar to our customers, how they might look at the demographics of their customers, and how that relates to
your ICP.
Exactly, and how that relates to conversion.
Ideal customer profile for those of us who are more baking fans than B2B SaaS fans.
Right.
For sure.
Or if you're really into the insane clown posse, woo-woo. Are baking skills really the only predictor of your ability to win? Like you said, there are some demographic ones, but I wondered if there were some that were less predictable. So maybe it is where you live or where you were born. Perhaps it is even the number of letters in your name. And there's these like weird unconscious biases that Paul and Prue have. And then generally speaking, can we see statistical correlations between the data that we have, demographics, and also the things that you win, like technical versus Star Baker, et cetera, and getting to attend that ceremonial circus that I find extremely strange at the end of each season. Okay, so Ollie, as promised, this is your data. Take a look at it, poke around. Maybe if you wouldn't mind thinking out loud about some questions you have.
Let's do it. I might ask a few questions actually. Hey, Count AI, we've got a data set here. I'd love you to help me understand what correlates with the final result of people being a winner. Could you help me understand how many, if they're winning technicals, if the number of technicals they win influences their winning streak? And can you also help me understand what makes you most likely to win based on your age?
You can dictate in Count. Clearly, Ollie's not just typing that quickly as he
shouting
speaks.
at you.
I do wonder, do you think you talked to Count count AI more or less than your mother?
That's a very difficult question to answer on a public show.
All right. Then
But I definitely speak to
My mother, definitely my mother. Also, my English accent's amazing.
all right, did you send it? Is it going?
Nice. It's going.
All
It's
right.
thinking away. I mean, I asked it a few different questions, so to be fair, it's got to do a bit of work.
Yep.
But
All right. So let's let it think.
let's do
I'll
it.
take you through my analysis. So if you come down here, let me just walk you briefly through how I made this data set. So you're right that someone on the internet had 14 seasons worth of data. For whatever reason, they separated it into 14 individual tables. So that lives somewhere else on the canvas. Oh, you're finding it. So yeah, if you follow the connectors, you can see all 14 of those data sets. And
Wow.
instead of joining those myself, which I could have done, I did ask the agent, and I'll pull open this agent here. And I basically said, hey, like, here's the structure for the first two. Join those. Let me confirm that it's correct. And then if so, join the rest. It did that. We have the data set that we were looking at earlier, 168 contestants, and it also consolidated things like whether they were a runner-up or a winner. So if you come down here, if you recall, the original question was like, what are the biases? You mentioned age, you mentioned occupation. I was like, gender. It's always gender. Like, unfortunately, it's always gender. But when you come down here, turns out British Bake Off, literally 50-50 on the nose. But another thing that I noticed when I was just sorting through the data is Richard from season 5 is the only person, unless it happened with Jasmine, I don't think it did, to win Star Baker 5 times. Do you remember this man?
I do. Yeah. He didn't win though. He didn't win. Oh yeah, he came second. Yeah, he didn't
He won
win.
Star Baker 5 times and
Competent
came
won.
in second. That is just disrespectful.
I think I don't know. Like, I'm sure someone's going to come tell me I've just got this wrong. I think he like had a really bad
He
final.
must have.
Like, it wasn't like, it was like he really kind of had a bad day.
He put the bed. I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but when I saw Richard and I looked closely, I thought to myself, okay, this guy maybe looks like he shops at the same places as Paul Hollywood. That geographically they might be like bumping into each other at the same Brooks Brothers. And then I thought, okay, where does Paul live? Paul lives in, I'm probably gonna say it wrong, Cheshire.
Cheshire.
Nailed
Yeah.
it. So Lil Paul grew up and I believe still lives in Cheshire. And so the next thought was, okay, maybe this is a proximity bias that Paul nor Prue know about, that if these contestants live near where they live, their chances of winning go up. I went and found where Paul lives and where Prue lives. I then added their latitude and longitude as data points. And then I found all of the contestants, like where their hometowns are, as longitude and latitude points. And then within count, you can easily plot that on a map, which I have done. Turns out that there is like no correlation in proximity. I asked the agent, hey, like, I gave it the same thesis I gave you. It's all about proximity. And I said, but before you actually run the analysis, can you tell me what your plan is? The reason I did that was I was afraid that it would do the pure, like, oh, there's more people within this location, therefore that means success, without taking into account the population in London or the number of contestants that are bunched in a certain space. And it did, without me telling it, group contestants into bands. So if they're within 50 kilometers, that's one group. If they're within 50 to 100 kilometers, that's another group, and so on. So down here, if you see success metrics by distance, in short, proximity to a judge means almost nothing. Like,
Doesn't help.
Not at all. In fact, you can see there's this weird skew if you're like far away, but not too far away, 100 to 200 kilometers. But it seems kind of arbitrary, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of noise, isn't it?
Exactly. So that theory was put to rest. But then I followed up with the agent and said, hey, instead of proximity to Paul and Prue, can you do proximity to one another? And this is sort of my way of being like, are contestants who win often in the same places? Are they frequently within major cities? It's that kind of analysis. It found, I'll just read this off to you, roughly 1 to 5 other contestants within 100 kilometers of them. So like semi-remote have the highest winner rate of 11.54%, whereas very isolated contestants, and there aren't many of them, but they have never won, the ones who live really far away, like way up in the north or in Ireland. So while the majority of contestants, 120 of them out of 168, came from high-density places like London, these only produce winners at an 8.3% rate, which the agent has dubbed this middle ground the Goldilocks zone, which is great editorializing from a robot.
Right. So what we're saying is, so if you don't live in London, if you live outside of major cities, is the kind of idea here, live in the suburbs. You've got more
Exactly.
time. You got less for life.
That was David's theory, right? Is like the city slows down where you are. And so the patience it requires to bake well is like a part of your daily life. Do you buy
I just
that?
think it comes back to, like, they just they're less busy, so they can just actually crack on with baking during the week.
This kind of leads us to this final analysis, and then we'll pop back up to see what your agent has come up with. Is what are the other possible demographic indicators, and can we formulate a perfect profile for a contestant at the start of the show?
Nice.
If they check all of these boxes, do their chances of winning go up, up, up? Part of me was like, is there's just some strange bias outside of these demographic markers that we can latch onto? Turns out your chances of winning, your chances of getting a handshake, and your chances of winning Star Baker, and Star Baker and winner are obviously very tied together, but go way up if your name has between 7 and 8 letters.
Really? As in first name?
Correct. Granted, we probably need 1,000 years worth of Great British Bake Off data in order to find something statistically significant. Do you want to hear David's theory on this? Is that if you have a longer name, you're more likely to get a nickname, and that makes you more endearing?
Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Could be.
That's
Could
interesting. I wonder if it was more cultural, that you just got back to that kind of, you've got more influences to play with because you haven't got a name like Tom.
Right. Again, kind of a nominal thing. Whereas exactly what you predicted, those that are homemakers and retired win the show at the highest rate. They win Star Baker at actually not the highest rate. It was the other group you said win Star Baker at the highest rate.
Really? So what, the academics?
Academics and technology professionals like Raul.
I knew it.
Called
I knew it. Right. So if you know how to do science, you can bake, basically.
Right.
If you can use a pipette tube, you can
Yep.
do it.
The last bit is all about age. And I don't think you predicted this. Let's see if your agent actually found the same thing. It should. But essentially, if you're under 34, your chances of winning go way up.
Yeah.
Which I won't reveal.
Don't know what
I
that
won't
is,
reveal
but
either
yeah.
of our ages, but I don't like my chances.
No, not me. We're past our baking primes. That's
I know.
fair.
Until we retire.
But that'll make till we retire. Well, even then, it's not great, is it?
Oh, it's not ideal. Not for winning, at least. In any case, we have our perfect profile. This is a person whose name has between 7 and 8 letters. They are in academia or they are in technology and young. And if they're not those things, they're retired or they're a homemaker. And then ideally, they don't live too far away from major cities, but they also don't live in major cities.
So that makes sense. So Jasmine is like the perfect candidate.
7. She's under 34. She was a student in a science.
I think I feel vindicated that my hypotheses are generally correct.
I think so. All right, let's go find out. Where'd you put him? Oh, there it is.
Put up here. I think that's right. I think we can see the age profile we discussed here, that to get a Star Baker to be a runner-up or winner, you're younger by quite a way. It's the average number of technical wins by final results. So this is a winner. You did win more technicals, but not by much than a runner-up. So it's like you need to have 2 technical wins on average to do well. But you don't want to I looked over here, it was quite interesting, that you don't want too many Star Bakers.
That's so interesting.
At all. Like you want to have what looks like 1 or 2, maybe 3, but you don't want 4. No one's actually won the game who's had 4 or 5. Like
That's so weird.
our friend before you
Richard.
mentioning
Good old Richard.
Richard. This makes sense. I feel happy. This fits my mental model of the show.
Okay, good.
And we now know that we are never going to be bakers of the Great British Bake Off. My pizza cake's the best I'm going to do.
Your pizza cake would stop every show. If there was a pizza for your son's themed week in the tent, he would succeed.
Here you go. Wow.
Oh,
I mean,
Ollie, it's so good. You're missing some crust there, but it's so good.
This was done with my son, to be fair to him. They did a good
To
job.
be fair to him, I mean, you've got a star in the making. And listen, if he wins, you win. So maybe we can just nudge him toward a career in homemaking.
Yep. Get him into sciences, start him young. Make sure he doesn't live too close to Paul Hollywood. This is awesome, Josh. Good work.
You too. So if you're watching this in a place where you're able to leave a comment or a question, please do. Otherwise, you can contact us, visit count.co, or you can even reach out to me, Josh at count.co. And for Ollie, I am Josh, and I guess I'll say thanks and take us offline.